I like endings that are beginnings. I kind of like endings in which my favorite character dies. I like endings in which it feels like it will never end. I like endings in which good triumphs over evil. I like endings that pack a punch. It's probably not that surprising that I tend to like endings similar to the endings that KL likes. Endings that maybe are a little bit angstier and not so happy. But the thing that I really like about an ending is an ending that implies that the story goes on, where it's not a definitive, this is the end of everything. One of my favorite endings is from Angel. The last episode actually ends at the beginning of a fight. And I love that because you're positive at that point that the story's going to go on. They're going to have a fight. It's just not a fight that we see. And a lot of people kind of complained about that, but I liked it. I liked that there was this definitive moment where we don't know what actually happens in the fight, but we know that the fight goes on. Like all the nerds, I like an ending that is logical. Something that when I get to the end, it feels both like a surprise and inevitable. And that requires a little bit of foreplanning from the author and a lot of work and revision, because you do need to make it all work together once you have everything written on the page. My mom is working on a memoir, and she recently asked me how would she know when she reached the end, because she's not trying to document her entire life, she's focusing on just a few years. So the question of when does she wrap up those end years is kind of an open-ended one. I told her to stop writing when it felt like she was done, which I think is pretty much all that any writer can do. When your story feels like it's told, when there's some sort of conclusion that makes you satisfied as a writer and that eventually satisfies someone as a reader, you've probably reached the end of your story and you've made the right choice. If, like the other nerds were saying, your story goes on and on and on, dragging past the end, it can be really tedious and just feel like there's way too much information there. So my advice to writers is to write until you feel like you're done. And if you feel like you're trying to find that perfect sentence that will just wrap up everything, stop writing at that point. Seriously, because you're never gonna find that one sentence if you're still stretching for it. Clean it up in revision. That's really all I have to say this week. I had a lot of deadlines and I'm really tired. So I'm just gonna throw this up there. You guys can watch it and I'm gonna go take a nap. See you next week.